we thought you'd be interested in meeting one of America's great comic geniuses, Harold Lloyd. Welcome to Calendar, sir.
Thank you very much, Eric.
I suppose on the basis of that introduction we gave, I have to ask you, why don't they make movies that funny anymore?
Well, I wouldn't go that way. I think they make very funny movies today. I think they're quite that I was making them, especially in the silent period. They were so much more visual. Today, the dialogue seems to take up so much of the time that they don't have that action and that the opportunity for thrills and the surprise business. In fact, they seem to have more or less lost the pattern that we had at the other time. I know if I were to start today and dig up what we call gag men, idea men, it would be quite difficult. There's not any men, there's very few trained for that. You take Bob Hope, for instance. He has a corps of men that work with him on dialogue. And they get with him and they throw ideas and verbal, of course, and he chooses and takes out what he wants. Well, I did exactly the same thing.
You did?
Yes, I did. I'd send them off separately. Maybe I'd have 6 or 7, sometimes less, sometimes more. And you'd send them out to work singly or in pairs, or maybe I might work half a day or all day with them. And one fellow will throw an idea, choose that idea, or maybe you just take the thought he had, and then you'd all go to work and put it in. And it was a cooperative idea like that. But those men don't exist today.
One thing you people did in those silent movies was create a character and stick to it, didn't you? But your character was different from the others. You were not always the patsy.
Well, you see, I used to do all comic clothes stuff in the early days. I had the big shoes. I had the tight clothes. In fact, I played several different characters. I played one called Willie Work. He used to have wide shoulders and a little cat mustache and high hat. Another one was called Lonesome Luke, and his clothes were tight with a little funny hat. He had a funny little mustache. But when I adopted the glasses, it more or less put me in a different category because I became a human being. He was a kid that you would meet next door or across the street. But at the same time, I could still do all the crazy things that we did before, but you believed them. They were natural, and your romance could be believable.
We've got one sequence that I think demonstrates exactly how clever you could be with the glasses. The thing in the subway, which we could roll now, which shows that sometimes you came out looking pretty good. You were also, I think, the most famous, if not the first, person to make yourself funny while also being in danger. I want to run a little bit of that film when you're on the awning before we get later to the famous clock thing. Was that... were those really hazardous events?
We were actually up as high as the picture shows. The people were under us at the time we were shooting this scene.
You'd have a hard time finding people to do that today.
Yes. I'd do it myself.
Would you do it again? Would you do it again if you were starting out?
No, I don't think so. I've had my period of that. It was hazardous. But one of the things was that we did about 4 or 5 of these thrill pictures, and it was hard to keep from being established as a thrill comedian.
Yeah.
Because that was just it. I was noticing here we're playing the pictures with the piano, of course, which you have to do. But these pictures generally were played with large we have now that we're going to release. We play with a 50-piece orchestra.
Well, I wish we had the 50-piece orchestra.
But in the old days, and our piano player's doing exceptionally well, in the old days we used to play it with piano like that. And it's very novel. I'm getting a kick out of seeing it done that way.
We're going to look at some more movies and talk to you some more, but right now we have to interrupt. I'll be back with Harold Lloyd and more film after this message. We're talking to Harold Lloyd. We have one of his most famous sequences here, and we'll ask him some questions about it after we take a... That's a great one. You know, I think probably the best news of the month for a lot of people is the fact that there's a new Harold Lloyd movie. Now, you haven't been going out and climbing clocks again, have you?
Well, what we've done is called Harold Lloyd's World of Comedy. And what we've done is we've taken sequences from a great many of our pictures. A lot of them long, some of them as much as 2 reels long. And we've got introduction. And the thing is that it's loaded with surprises, action, thrills, situation. And as I said, we put sound effects all through it. And there's a limited amount of narration. And, of course, a music score.
whole generation of people who never saw you will now be able to get a look at it.
I think they're going to like it. We've previewed it a number of times, and we've tried to preview it on Friday. When we get in this, practically 2 generations I've lost. And so we previewed it on Fridays when the kids were out of school. And the response, we've been most gratified with. It's been splendid. They react to it practically the same as when I made it first.
You know, when you were talking before the program, you were speaking about the character you played in all those movies, the boy with the glasses.
Yes.
I noticed you kept saying he or the boy. Is he a separate person to you?
Yes, he is. I don't know. I've always done that. To me, my character on the screen, of course, you know, the years have added a little avoirdupois around here, but I always referred to him as he or the boy or the character or something of that kind. I don't know. I always regarded myself as a character on the screen, which I was, even though basically I wore glasses, but our characters changed with the different pictures. One time he might be a very brash, another time an introvert, another time a hypochondriac type of a person, but it was according to the picture we did, and that lent a little different type of comedy. Now, we have one of the sequences in World of Comedy where I'm in this Latin American country, and I arrive there thinking that my health is bad, which is nothing wrong with it at all, and I think it's going to be peaceful and calm, but I walk right into the middle of a revolution. And I go blissfully around, all riding over everything, people getting knocked over, killed, and everything. But it's a different kind of a character entirely from what you saw on the subway. There, he's just a regular, natural, normal kid. And Grandma's boy, he's a very cowardly, shy type of individual. And so it went on. And that's one reason I think that I, having been off the screen for so long and coming back, the type of picture we're doing, World of Comedy, will be a good introductory one because it'll show a certain gamut of the type of comedy that we did.
I'd like to wind this up. We were out of time. I'd like to wind it up with what I think is one of the funniest sequences you or anybody else ever shot, the water fight. Movies are better than ever. Thanks very much, Mr. Lloyd, for coming here, and good luck with the new picture.
Thank you.
It's been a great pleasure to have you here on Calendar. I think everyone will want to see that new movie. I'll be back with the news after this message.